Welcome, Empowered Community. I'm so happy to be giving you out gems on our first podcast. So, firstly, we just wanted to create this podcast just so we can give another way of giving you guys value other than social media or our Discord community. I wanted to introduce Omid, who's been partnered with me for this past month. He has a real passion for helping students. And yeah, Omid, welcome, brother.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to partner with you. I'm really excited about the podcast, and I'm ready to be able to share my experiences and my expertise with the listeners.
So, where are you from? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, around that area. I've been here all my life, so I really love the area, other than the winters, obviously. But yeah, I love it here. So.
And the power of social media. And it's great because he's from Minneapolis. I'm from Maryland. And we connected through each other just through social media DMs. That's the power of DMing and connecting with people and building relationships. That's something I truly believe in. But yeah, something that really stood out to me is that he came from our first DMs. He introduced himself and he got accepted into the ICU as a new grad. Can you explain what on your resume helped you get into that position?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit about my undergraduate. But one of the bigger things was I finished all my 4 years in my BSN with a 4.0. So that was a really good thing to have on the resume, obviously. Can kind of talk about my undergraduate and how I went from first semester in college all the way to the end and finally got my dream job. Um, so one of the most important things to me is mentoring students. I started out as a teaching assistant for anatomy and physiology, and I really loved mentoring and teaching students actual content, but also helping them through a difficult part of their life. So that kind of led me into our mentorship program in our School of Nursing. I'm sure some or most should have a mentorship program, like a peer mentoring program. And I was a leader for that. And we would take pre-nursing students and students who were below us in our nursing cohorts, and we would kind of walk them through the process of nursing school. We all know how tough nursing school is, and we need some help from someone. A lot of the time, like you definitely need a ton of help. And so I did a lot of things. First of all, I tutored them and I taught them the content, which is super important. But more important to me personally was the mental health aspect of nursing school and how I can help people kind of work through the mental health side of things, because that's one of the more difficult things in my opinion. Because if you don't have the mental health aspect of nursing school down, then you don't even, like, it doesn't matter if you're a great memorizer or if you're great at applying the things you've memorized. Like you're not going to do well unless you watch after yourself. I did a bunch of other stuff too. I have one published research paper. I did 4 projects, so that was another thing that really helped me get into the ICU. Um, but I would say the single most important thing was my internship that I had. Like my resume was okay, was great going into my internship interview. But that internship that I got in on that same unit in the ICU was what got me into that job after school. I really made a lot of connections. That's another thing. I networked a ton. And that's how I got into the ICU as a new grad. And I can go more into detail on that later, but yeah, that was a big reason.
Yeah, bro. So having 4.0, could you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit of your research that got published?
Yeah, so I did 4 total projects, all of them centered around helping marginalized communities. My first one, we worked with immigrant Somali populations and we did health assessments for them. We kind of set up like a free clinic. That was one of the most meaningful things, coming from an immigrant household. So that was something that really sparked that single research really sparked my interest in research. And then jumping forward, the other 2 spent a lot working with mental health. One with Alzheimer's patients, and then another one with actually nursing school. And we were kind of searching how physical exercise could impact mental health. But the one that got published was related to endometriosis, and looking at how non-pharmacological interventions could help with endometriosis pain. And so we did a survey on that. We did everything, and we just recently published it in the Elsevier journal. And yeah, it was actually just published in today. Really, it was October. It was our first like hard copy published.
So,
So yeah, it was a big day
congrats,
today.
congrats.
Thank
So
you.
4.0 student, leader of the mentorship program,
Mm,
having your research published.
yeah.
What more can we ask from a nursing student? So I know a lot of us want to be like that. What motivated you to do all this? I know it's easy to sit down in bed, easy to wake up unmotivated, not really wanting to do your work. What motivated you to be not even part of the mentorship program, but be the leader? What motivated you from like not getting like B, C average, but
Yeah.
getting 4.0 for all 4 years? That must be something special. What motivated you to do this?
Yeah, and so the biggest thing was family for me. And I know after I explain my family situation, I'm sure you have a similar one. So basically my dad was a immigrant here from Iran during the revolution. And my whole dad's side of the family was just like incredibly inspirational and how they got here, established themselves in the Midwest, and then kind of worked their way up to where they are now. um, and that those kind of stories are really inspirational to me because it's people coming from literally nothing, like literally nothing, war and civil war, to coming here and living the American dream. Something that's super inspirational to me. I was lucky enough to be born and privileged, born here in the United States, and able to, you know, able to follow my dreams. That was the biggest thing. I always say my biggest thing that I say to everyone is my dad and my mom worked hard so that I can work smart, and that's what I did. I took what they gave me. They gave me my foundation, and I built it up and worked smart in college. Went after leadership positions, and I had the willingness to be able to go out and get A's because I know that there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, not millions of people who would love to be in my situation. Like they would kill to be in our situation, to be able to be educated like this. So um yeah, I mean, family is the biggest thing for me. um why not go and get it is another thing. I mean, like, can you give us a story about your family too, Giannis?
So my family's from Morocco, and I'm actually very privileged because my sister is a nurse practitioner,
Yeah.
and she's the one who got me interested in nursing, and seeing her success rubbed off on me. And another point I wanted to bring to the viewers that are watching right now, that are listening to this point, is very special because this what I'm about to say is my mentors, like you can see, billionaires, millionaires have been saying that surround yourself with people that are better than you, same level or not better than you. Because if you're waking up unmotivated and your friend is waking up unmotivated, what do you think is going to happen? You're just going to be unmotivated. But if you're waking up with somebody, texting somebody that's like doing something, pursuing something, you're more likely to be doing that same thing. So whoever's in nursing school right now, stick around those high achievers in your class, because you don't want to be looking at somebody that has a bad study schedule, like winging it, because you're going to be rubbed off on that. So stick with the high achievers. Have, even if your friends are not going in the same path as you, stick to the people that are high achieving and really want the best for themselves. But yeah, so yeah, same story as you, brother. Same story as you. Just trying to stay out here, make a living, and be a, like you said, be a leader. I've been taking up many leadership, just even having this podcast, giving you guys value, and is a leadership position. I'm grateful to be able to hop on this with you. And but yeah, bro. So going on. So what are your plans for the future?
Yeah, so if I can kind of talk about my work situation after I graduated. It was a difficult time, man. I graduated in May of 2020, straight into a surgical ICU at a big hospital at University of Minnesota. Um, and I got dropped right into the fire. It was September is when I started like independently working, and as we all know, September, November of 2020, we had that huge first COVID spike, and so right away, as I started working independently, I was dropped into this COVID wave, and our ICU turned into a COVID ICU. And I really had to adapt, and I had to be resilient, and I had to overcome these incredible obstacles to try and one learn how to be an ICU nurse. First of all, like most people, they have like a normal caseload for patients to learn, but I had to jump right in and learn with COVID patients. Um, so I figured out that it wasn't something I loved. Um, and that's totally fine. Like you can do whatever you want with nursing. And I can talk about my ICU experience at a different time because I could talk for like 50 minutes on that. Um, but yeah, you can do anything with nursing. I decided that it wasn't right for me, and I decided that it wasn't a sustainable place for me. And I decided to switch, and I love research, so I switched to research, and now I'm a research coordinator at University of Minnesota. So, and I'm loving it. Like we're doing a study on sedation in the ICU, so it was a good transition. But I was able to transition into something that I loved, and maybe it's something that I should have started as a new grad in research. But you learn from your mistakes. Another huge thing that I like to preach, trial and error. Some people don't like to have errors, but it's necessary in life sometimes, right? So, but yeah, I transitioned to research. I love it. You can talk a little bit more about how you can do anything with nursing, Youness, too.
Yeah. So I want to talk continue on the trial and error just
Yeah.
because I've been through a lot of trial and error, honestly. So I've got waitlisted for my first nursing program, and then eventually, wow. So I got waitlisted for my first nursing program. I went to high school. After high school, I graduated like a 4.1 GPA out of high school,
Hmm.
and then went to University of Maryland. I'm sure many people know where that school is. And then I was a kinesiology major at first,
Hmm.
and that didn't work out. So that right there is trial and error. That didn't work out. Like I wasn't really interested in it. Like I didn't see much opportunity in it. Just because you said like nursing has a lot of you can do a lot of things with nursing.
Hmm.
So I saw that I could do a lot of things with nursing, and that's why I chose the nursing path.
Hmm.
And then I applied for the nursing program. I got waitlisted, um, and I was devastated after that. Like I already knew like waitlisting is like a low probability of getting accepted at that school. It's not always the case, but at that school it's like low probability. And then I was a soccer player as well, so a community college, I had an opportunity to play at a community college, and that had a 2-year RN to BSN
Hmm.
program. So I did that and I got a full scholarship to be playing soccer there. I was in a leadership position. I was the captain of the soccer team, and I was in the nursing program as well. So during that fall, we had a fall and spring season, and it's very competitive. We were Division 1 NJCAA. Um, I was leading my team. I was attending study halls and being an example role model for the nursing for my teammates, and as well I would take up leadership positions in class in the nursing program as well. Um, and I would like attend like we had like clinicals. I'll be like the first to like try it out. So they're being the first to try things out, like like doing like cathing and stuff like
Hmm.
that, like IVs. I'll be like one of the first to try those experiences out because I know it's just for practice and trial and error, trial and error.
Yeah.
So after that, I graduated. I was graduated like a 3.6 GPA,
Hmm.
and 3.6 GPA. I was the top goal scorer in America.
Yeah.
Still the captain captain of the soccer team, top 3 goal scorers in America. Still the captain of the soccer team. And now currently doing my RN to BSN program. So I'm right there with you guys. I'm right there with you guys, and I can relate right now. I'm doing all online RN, my BSN program, while working full time,
Yeah.
while giving value to other nursing students, while playing soccer as well, potentially like even going professional soccer, even not even doing nursing anymore. So I want to be here as an example to show you guys like there's a lot of paths that I can take, like nursing can take. I can be playing professional soccer while being online, educating nursing students because I know I have all the material right now. I know all the material. I know what it takes to push past problems, trial and error to get to your final destination. Right now I'm in it. I'm in a BSN program. I got straight A's my last semester while working full time as a as a as a registered nurse, a full registered nurse, and I also work night shifts as well.
Yeah.
So let's go, guys. Let's go, guys. We're all in it. We're all
Yeah.
in it together. Let's
And
kill it.
and I remember you said you were like one of the only students to be a student athlete and graduate from the nursing program, right? Can you talk about how you kind of balanced?
Yeah. So I was the only in the college's whole
Yeah.
entire history. I was the only person to be in the nursing program while being on the soccer team. Not only was I on the soccer team, I was the captain and performing at a high level, scoring. I had 20 plus goals in a season.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you guys know how hard nursing school is. You know how much you have to
Yeah.
study. So after practice, I would literally go to the library. I was tired after practice. I would have lecture first, practice, and then go study until like 10, 11 p.m. whenever the library closes. Because community college, we don't have that 24-hour access. We close at a certain time. And yeah, that balance. And I hope to be on another podcast just talking about how I balance this and what
Yeah.
really motivated me more in detail. And I'm sure like you talked briefly on how this is like the first podcast. So
Yeah.
you talked only briefly of how that motivation to get you into that 4.0 status and that you didn't even talk about your study techniques yet. You didn't even talk about your routines. You didn't like we're not even talking about that yet. It's a whole process. It's a whole process. Longevity, like there's so many semesters. You can do well for one semester. It doesn't mean you're gonna do well the next semester. You can do bad one semester. It doesn't mean you're gonna do bad the next semester. So
Yeah.
it's a whole process.
Yeah, it was like I look back on it, 120 credits of all A's. It's maybe not super sustainable for everyone, but it was something that I had a goal. I had that goal since the beginning. Like I finished my first semester with a 4.0, and I was like, well, maybe I can do it. Like maybe I can go the whole
Right?
way. And then things just kept snowballing, and I was like, I can't give up now. Like why would I ever give up? Like I got to keep going with it. So yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of stuff we're gonna make tons of podcasts about little specific details like study habits and stuff as a whole hour-long podcast. Like I have so many study tips. We both do.
And I
Um,
know you've been dropping like daily in the Discord community. You've been dropping daily study tips.
yeah,
And I know it's been helping so many students just with those daily study tips. And you're not even going into detail like we are like and then also you're dropping those live Q&As where you're dropping live study tips and even tutoring students with their just last week you were tutoring what with EKGs
yeah,
and
yeah, with EKG.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah, so if I can talk a little bit about our Discord and how it's kind of set up. Um, Basically we have this community, 8,500 strong, more than 8,500 plus members in our Discord community. And we want to make it like a community where people can just come drop questions and interact with one another. Like we want it to kind of be like a peer mentoring thing, but your peers are from, Washington or from Idaho or from Singapore or whatever. We want people to be able to come and interact. And then we also have like a premium section where I devote a ton of time. Like I like Youness said, I drop daily tips. But we have like a study room, and I go and sit in there 2 to 3 times a week, and people just drop in and ask questions, and I tutor them, or I give them like personal advice or any career advice, stuff like that. Like one of our great members' name's Henry, and like him and I have been studying hard, like studying cardiomyopathies, EKGs. Like I taught him the foundations and built him up through there. And then other members asked me about career advice, and we actually had an amazing member named Marva who I did a mock interview with, and she got a great ICU job after she did the mock interview. So there's a ton of stuff like, um, I mean,
It's
everything's super
unbelievable.
important, but yeah, our Discord has a lot of good information for sure.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the passion you've been given out. Like I really see it resonate, and it's been helping the students a lot. It's been helping the students a lot lately. But yeah, what are your plans for the future?
Yeah. So more detailed plans for me. So I'm planning on applying to PhD programs this fall. I'm actually in the process of typing up all the essays and reaching out and networking to PhD professors. But I want to get my PhD and study nurse fatigue, burnout, and turnover. Those are two things that are super, like, I'm incredibly passionate about helping our nursing profession. Um, something I think there's a stat like 60% of all nurses right now post pandemic or during the pandemic. I don't know if we'll ever get a post pandemic, but um, right now there's 60% of nurses say they're burnt out. And one of them was me. Like I felt I was super burnt out. That's why I left my ICU position. Um, but yeah, I want to focus on fatigue, burnout, and turnover in nurses and try and find solutions. Like I want to see why nurses are burnt out, and what interventions we can put in place, whether it be in leadership, whether it can be policy, like actually up in Washington D.C. And then I want to see outcomes. Like I want to see outcomes and make nursing leadership, nursing administration. I want them to make interventions to help our nursing community. Like I don't think, and a lot of people probably agree, I don't think hospital administrators care enough about their nurses. I feel like we're more of a number than an actual human to a lot of these administrators. And while I understand there's financial constraints and blah blah blah, but it's something I'm super passionate about and something that I want to go study more. And so I have a bunch of schools in mind that really specialize in that area of nursing.
Love that.
Yeah, so that's my thing. Like I want to go get my PhD, and I want to be the change in the world. I want to be the change. So especially in our nursing profession, because I got into the nursing profession because I wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And there's a lot of things related to helping nurses with burnout that can help the patients as well. Like we know that there's a strong link between patient outcomes and nurse burnout and how they feel in the workplace. So by me helping nurses, I am going to help patients as well. So that's my goal long term. Yeah.
Love how you related it back to the patients, because as nurses,
Yeah.
it's all about the patients, and
Right.
yeah, that'll be a great that's a great topic.
Yeah. I'm very excited about it.
And also we could be talking about that more in detail. That's also another
Yeah.
hour long
Yeah.
podcast. So yeah, our plans, guys. Thank you for listening. And our plans later on for these podcasts, so stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing other nursing students, talking to them, seeing how they're excelling, struggling, and even helping like live live advice for them, what we can give them, and
Yeah.
getting also other speakers, other motivational speakers, other people that have been through the process, and having live Q&As where Omid especially has the knowledge and live Q&As where he'll be can be tutoring and answering like specific educational questions.
Yeah. Um, and I do think that interviewing like specific nurses, like ICU nurses would be cool. Like interviewing an ICU nurse, interviewing an OB nurse, interviewing a wound care nurse or a CRNA or grad school graduates or even professors that specialize in something in the future is what we're planning on doing. And I think it could bring a lot of help to nursing students. So that's our big plan for the podcast for sure.
All right, bet. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Great. So yeah, thanks for listening. This was our first podcast. It's a great introductions. I think we have a lot to give to you guys.
Love it. Love you guys. See ya.
See ya.